And welcome back to RJB's Starcraft channel, where I'll be casting games for you all day long. And let's see, the interface is responding a little bit slowly. Alright, let's get rolling into this game. This game we have HamburgerSasu, the random, who's playing the White Zerg. It's definitely White Zerg. He's on the username barcode Q, and he's just spamming away his chat really fast. And on the other side we have Terror, who's on the bottom left of the map. He's playing Protoss, and I have no idea if this is the Korean player Terror, or well, just some guy who named himself Terror. I've got no idea at all. But this set of replays should be fun, because there are a lot of replays between Terror and HamburgerSasu within the folders, and pretty much the only times when HamburgerSasu plays a person a lot of times in a row, or just a lot of times in general, is when that player is absolutely amazing, similarly to his own skill level. And well, I hope I didn't mess up picking this guy as his opponent for this series of casts, because I'm going to do a couple of videos between these two guys. I just decided to do a whole series with HamburgerSasu as the main subject, because I've got so many of his replays. It's insane. Pretty much like I've got like 2,000 of his replays for 1v1 alone, and I'm just gonna start going through them indiscriminately. Well, to a degree indiscriminately. I'm gonna try to select some players who have at least a high EAPM, so we can at least be sure that there's a certain amount of skill and explosiveness and action involved in these games. And anyway, that aside, Terror finds HamburgerSasu, or I'm just gonna call him Q. Might be easier, or perhaps I'm gonna call him Random. Whichever just comes up. I'm not going to be very consistent with the names that I pick for the guy. So he scouts him about 2.5 minutes in. Sees that he's popping out Zerglings. A couple of 6 Zerglings are coming out there. Might have a couple more on the way. So there's 8 Zerglings coming out for HamburgerSasu. HamburgerSasu is going to try to find Terror as fast as he can. He doesn't know the location he came from, so he's going to split up all of his Zerglings to every single direction on the map. And he's going to add that 3rd hatchery on there. And he found him. But as Zergling runs into 2 Zealots, he managed to turn around and circumvent around those Zealots quite nicely, not taking any damage on the Zergling. And there's only a single Sunken here in the choke. Those 2 Zealots will not be able to get through, so they decide to turn around once they notice. Zergling died to the cannon there. Terror started out with +1 Nexus and then 2 Gateways and a Cybernetics Core after he got the 2 gas finished up, so he's going to be ramping up quite quickly. You can already see this on 22 probes in total, and there's this robotic facility coming out. That's a very early robotic facility for Terror there. And something happened here, not sure, but he's laughing out loud. I think he caught the probe. The probe was still running circles. Another hatchery being added on for HamburgerSasu. Zergling makes it out of the base. He's going to run around those Zealots. One Zealot's going to chase it around. He's going to use that Zergling to scout and get more information on what Terror is doing. Terror already throwing out a Citadel of Doom there. That's also really early. I think both the Robotics and a Citadel of Doom warping in before 4 minutes. You don't often see it that quick. He didn't even choke up. So that's also quite a risky move, because this does give HamburgerSasu the opportunity to go for a very aggressive early game build, unless a choke does come up sometime in the near future. But as long as the choke is not going to come up, I assume that HamburgerSasu is going to be playing aggressive. He has vision of that area, so he knows when Terror is going to be choking up, or if Terror is going to build cannons and a pylon here to contain HamburgerSasu within his base, which I do think he's going to do, because he's setting out a probe into the middle there. HamburgerSasu saw it leaving. HamburgerSasu now already adding on a Hydralisk Den at a 440. Another hatchery, mining from 2 gas, so he's going to be able to get those upgrades on that Hydralisk Den. And it looks like the probe is just going to the side here. Either it's going to make pylons here, to just deny or just have vision over the map, or he's going to build stuff here. I'm not too sure about that. Zealot's still chasing it, circling around Zerg and getting itself a lot of information for Sasu. Sasu doing quite a good job controlling it as well, preventing to take damage on it. And he sees the shuttle. Shuttle's going to pick up those 4 Zealots there. Those 4 Zealots already moving towards a spot that is closer to the hill here, so we can fly them over more quickly. Gonna pick them up. Hydralisks are on the way. 11 Hydralisks, in fact, are on the way for HamburgerSasu. HamburgerSasu will be able to defend himself against those Zealots. And he's gonna fly that shuttle in right over an Overlord. And Zealots now being dropped on the low ground. And they're going in for the attack. Fight going on here. But those Zealots pretty much just go down without killing anything whatsoever. Although I think a single circling there went down, but it's not that much altogether. Now he's gonna unload the Zealots he loaded up, because he knows he can't send them in there because they just roll over and die. 30 drones against 47 probes now. Terror is starting to reach the point where his economy is gonna be booming, because he's only got 12 of those 47 probes on his minerals, and at least 32 of them are mining minerals. So he's going to be ramping up quick. He's building his Reaver and Robotics Facility Expo here, right around the corner, instead of building it inside the choke where people usually build it, because it also means you can build cannons here to keep the Zerg contained. But Terra is just building it here on the side. 5 robotic facilities in total. He's got a robotic support bay as well. Weapon upgrades are on the way. Drop is going to fly in from the north side, where Sasu does not have any vision whatsoever. Although he did see the shuttle coming in from this one. But all of his units are going to have to move up. And the Reaver gets picked up. He manages to fly around, but he doesn't get the great shot off. Doesn't get a shot off on those drones either. So the drop eventually does fail. HamburgerSasu did a great pull off from his minerals with his drones, protecting them, keeping them away from that Scarab fire. But three Reavers are on the way here. Another shuttle, a Reaver there, and another Reaver. 5 Reavers on the way for Terror, but he's only got a single shuttle there. He's gonna have to wait for a wave of shuttles as well before he can do something with that. Maybe he's gonna go for the frontal push. Maybe he's gonna try to land that somewhere inside of HamburgerSasu's base. HamburgerSasu now still on 4 hatcheries, in fact. But now adding on more drones. Still has vision on all the sides. Drop coming flying from the northern side. Reaver and 2 Zealots in there. Just gonna quickly have a look at the base. Nothing really interesting happening here aside from upgrades like Scarab damage, Dragoon range, and the shuttle gets found. Shuttle gets taken down by those Hydralisks. Terra's second drop has been thwarted. Nothing much has been working out for Terror here. HamburgerSasu is pretty much on top of everything. Every stage in the game. A lot of Reavers. Another wave of 5 Reavers being made there. The shuttle finished here. There's Singularity Charge on the way. It's pretty much just ramping up slowly. 64 probes, still making probes 8 minutes into the game. It's one ship because you want to hit about the 70 point mark, the 70 probe mark, which should be until about 90 or 9.5 minutes into the game. He's going to go for the frontal push here. He's making shuttles though. Well, he's not making shuttles. I thought he was making shuttles, so he could drop them somewhere inside of Sasu's base, but he's just going to go for the frontal push and be very aggressive here. And even massing up a bunch of units. He's already on 190 supply, 9 minutes into the game. With a very tech-heavy build. He's adding on even more gateways there on the expo. Right around the corner, and Sasu spread himself a little bit too thin, being forced to go for very early units, and like he's building a huge amount of Sunkens there, but he's still pretty damn small, only on 100 supply capacity, up against 200 supply capacity from Terra, and Terra is already maxed out. If he hadn't lost that Reaver, of course, he would be maxed out. He's going to be maxing out very soon. 196 now, and this massive Reaver, he's got a total of 9 Reavers there, and 2 more are on the way. And they're just pushing in without effort whatsoever. And here the Zealots coming in, the Goons coming in. Sasu being very small with his mass. He's going to try to get us around on those Reavers and Dragoons, but it's just going to be absolutely pointless because there's so many Reavers there with Scarab damage upgrade as well. And they're definitely going to be able to just mow down whatever is going to be coming out for HamburgerSasu here in his attempts to defend himself. Now, even a shuttle is going to come in from the southern side. He does not get spotted. Scorch get pulled away. Reaper's going to drop there on the low ground right next to the drones. Drone's going to get... And he doesn't get the shut off because HamburgerSasu leaves the game before the shot can happen. And the game ends there. He doesn't even call the GG. And that's pretty much his game number 1 between HamburgerSasu and Terror. And I'm going to pause the game for a short bit here and immediately load up into game number 2 and then discuss this game while we are loading into game number 2. Alright, and we are loading up into game number 2 between HamburgerSasu and Terror. HamburgerSasu is playing on the name Barcode Q and Terror is playing on the name Terror, and I don't know who Terror is. I was already mentioned in the previous start of the game, but he's a pretty damn good player. I think he's a pretty damn good player. Last game he had a pretty damn solid build, and now he's just spamming the BM in response to HamburgerSasu's BM from the early stage of the last game. But Terror really proved that he had a top tier Protoss there, because it's not easy beating HamburgerSasu who's on the Zerg, because HamburgerSasu is a pretty damn good Zerg. But he just managed to completely outmass him really easily with a huge, absolutely massive Reaver mass. 12 Reavers about 30 minutes into the game. And HamburgerSasu had no response to it. Could have been a little bit more conservative and gone for Mulisks, but even then, there were a lot of Dragoons in the mix as well. And he pretty much was forced to spread himself really thin, going for very early Hydralisks, making more Hydralisks because Terror was threatening him with shuttles and whatever. This time around, maybe the end result might be different, because HamburgerSasu is going for a non-joke Zerg against Terror. And as we saw last game, Terror is quite a terrifying player, as his name implies. And this might actually not be the wisest choice for HamburgerSasu, but maybe, just maybe he can pull off a miracle. Given his level of skill is so insanely high that he might just be able to do it. 2 gateways coming out for Terror, sending a probe out into the middle, ready to scout the map. Of course, starting with the right side of the map. Overlord has done his scouting duty. Overlord here as well, moving onto the hill about here. This Overlord is going to move into the middle, scout for a mid build, or just get itself vision of units moving out. Because both players know which matchup they're playing. Which also explains why Terror is only scouting the entrances, because he's looking for a hatchery. As he did here, only scouted the entrance, looking for a hatchery for a choke. But there's no choke for HamburgerSasu, so this might actually work out in favor for HamburgerSasu. Though I'm sure Terror now knows that HamburgerSasu is either located on the bottom right corner or the top left corner, top right corner. So this probe, and he sees the Overlord there, so he's going to scout spot number 12 first. 4 hatcheries now out for HamburgerSasu, 2 of which are morphing. This one has just started morphing. There's a creep colony, there's a gas, pretty early gas in my opinion. There's a couple of Zerglings coming out, ready to scout. 2 more Zerglings are on the way as well. 4 Zerglings in total. He's just going to keep them. No, he's going to use them to scout. Let's keep our vision on HamburgerSasu for a while. See what he's going to find. What he's going to do with information. Well, there he finds 2 Zealots and immediately pulls back his Zerglings back to his base. This one Zergling is going to try to scout. Also try to pull those Zealots with him. Buy himself some time. 2 more Zealots are there in the middle. He immediately goes to the right spot because he saw the spot with that Overlord. Saw the Zealots moving out. He runs in, gets past those 2 Zealots. There's already Cybernetics Core and already a Citadel of Adun. Already a Citadel of Adun on the way for Terror. And the Zerg is now going to gather information. The gateway is being added on, pylon as well. These 2 Zealots are trying to fish for an opening here inside of HamburgerSasu's base, but he sees that there's a sunken there, sees that there are 3 Zerglings. He's going to move along the side and try to snipe some of those drones. He gets a single drone kill, gets the second drone kill, 2 drone kills, 3 drone kills coming in for Terror just about in time, just as the Zealot dies. Another creep colony, or well, sunken on the way. There's hatchery number 5, 6 if you count this one. But I personally never count this one into the equation, so that's 5 hatcheries. More gateways being added on for terror. Zealot legs and weapon upgrade on the way for terror. Circling still running around the base. More gateways even being added on. There's a gas being added on below this little interface here. Right there. He's being way more aggressive with his build this time around. Not going for a drop because he knows that HamburgerSasu's base is wide open. So he can afford going for ground forces. He can afford going for it because, well, there's no risk of running into Sunkens here in the front. Zealots going to wherever they're going. No idea. And that's Evo Chamber. Alright, going for Lurker aspect right off the bat. And we've got a 7X core upgrading a singularity charge there as well. More gateways. That's a lot of gateways so early into the game. Total of 9. Zealots spreading himself out. Alongside the sides of HamburgerSasu's base. These Zealots are not going to go in, I assume. He's going to wait for the remainder of his Zealots to group up. Perhaps wait for those Dragoons. Maybe he's going to try to fish for some damage here with these freshly sped up Zealots. Look for an opening. Maybe he's going to go for the Hydralisk Den. No, he's not going to go for the Hydralisk Den. He's going to get us around on those Sunkens and focus on those Sunkens instead. Stop Sunken is going to go down rather quickly. Also, the Zealot's still alive. He's at most going to get 3 of those Sunkens, maybe 4 of them. He's definitely going to get 4 of those Sunkens as reinforcements come streaming in for terror. HamburgerSasu now being put on the back foot. Can HamburgerSasu pull this off? It looks like terror thinks he's already won, but HamburgerSasu pulls his drones off there quite nicely, trying to buy time on this Sunken. He even manages to save the Sunken. He only needs a single hit now. Zerglings have spawned. Zerglings gonna try to block access to the Sunken there in the back, making sure doesn't keep dealing damage to those Zealots running in. Pana's being thrown up around the base. Wait, Nexai being thrown up around the base. HamburgerSasu, that's a very BM move. I assume Terror already thinks he's absolutely won this, but there are the Lurkers. Lurkers not even attacking with those Zealots, he's putting them on hold move. This is like absolute master tier BM. The 2 Lurkers there in the back, cleaning up the Zealots inside of the base. There's no detection there for Terror. Zealots now chasing those Hydralisks. Hydralisks there safely in the back. He's turning them into Lurkers right before... Oh, never mind. He turned the other ones into Lurkers right before they died. Now he's protecting his main. Ooh, this is a tight game, and it looks like HamburgerSasu is really feeling the pressure here. From all these cannons now being put up around his base, these 3 Nexai there just... Is he going to cancel them or is he going to let them finish? At 1200 minerals, they're being wasted for the sake of BM. Lurkers are keeping HamburgerSasu alive. There is no robotic facility out on the map for terror, so no observers are going to be coming out. Means HamburgerSasu can try to push himself out of this nasty situation here. Maybe he's just going to take down those Nexai there first. Zealots here protecting those cannons. Lurker there taking down this Nexus. This is the 4th Nexus, 1600 minerals wasted on BM. Zealots streaming in. Zealots are on 001. No more upgrades for Zealots are on the way. Robotics facility has finished for Terror there in the bottom corner of his base. There's the observatory. The observer's going to come flying in, scooting over the map very soon. But this is quite a big mass here for HamburgerSasu. HamburgerSasu has done a really good job of massing himself up. He's burrowing those Lurkers alongside those Nexai, trying to take down those Nexai. He's going to push a couple of those Lurkers deeper up, trying to get some damage up on those Dragoons and Zealots there. But the Zealots and Cannons are really protecting those Dragoons really, really well. These Lurkers there are also going to go down. He's got a... Ooh, he pretty much wasted his entire mass trying to deal some damage on this entire line of cannons there. There's quite a lot of cannons there, and the Lurkers did not deal as much damage as he'd hoped for. Now, I think he might have thrown away his chance to make a comeback there by being very greedy with his units there. Not even saving them, but he's managing. He's going to try to take down those cannons there from the side where the least amount of cannons can fire on his Hydralisk at a time. Observer flying over the map. More units going to come streaming in because he's on 8, 11 gateways there. Very slowly ramping up, but he's still, nonetheless, ramping up. HamburgerSasu adding on 5 more hatcheries to the side there. And there's no robotic facility being made here inside of the base. I mean, inside of this cannon expansion or expo. Outside of Hamburger's base. HamburgerSasu balling up his lurkers, balling up his Hydralisk, and he goes in for the attack on the side there, but there's an observer there in the mix, so he will be able to spot those lurkers and take them down. But those Hydralisks are doing an awesome job of getting damage down on those Zealots and Dragoons. More Dragoons reinforcing cannons and the Dragoons there. Lurker's gonna move up. He's gonna take a couple of those cannons, but robotic facilities now finishing up inside that expo line of cannons for Terra there. Terra finally decided to go for the Reavers, adding on even more gateways inside of his base. Robotic support bay gonna come down soon as well, somewhere. No robotic support bay just yet. Should be coming up anytime soon though, because I think Terra knows that he might still be able to lose this game, given that HamburgerSasu managed to get himself big enough to push himself out of this nasty situation here. But as long as Terra keeps adding on more Dragoons into the mix and starts building a robotic support bay. Wait, he has a robotic support bay, but where? Ah, there it is. Up there, hidden from my sight. Both players still trying to go aggressive on each other, but not really gaining much ground on Terra's cannon wall here. Terra going to try to go for the counter push, but those lurkers there in the back dealing significant amount of damage. Hydralisk microing backwards on top of the lurkers, trying to pull some of those Dragoons with them, but the Dragoons pull back, put in hold position. Reavers here about to finish up. There is no Spire for HamburgerSasu. HamburgerSasu now with 53 drones. He's managing to climb out of that hole. Though his hole is still pretty much within a confinement here. Lurkers there on the sides, trying to keep units at bay. Gonna try to take down those Reavers. He gets shots off on the first Reaver, shots off on the second Reaver. Second Reaver goes down, but now Terra decides to attack with his Dragoons there on the side. There's way too many Lurkers there and a Sunken there as well, keeping those units away. More units coming in for the regroup. 106 supply for Sasu against 177, 183 for Terra. Terra's base is still relatively small here, but he's been spending all of his minerals here. It's understandable why his base is still quite small, but he's been massing really diligently and really well. His APM shot back up to 300, which is also quite impressive to be 12 minutes into the game and still at such a high APM. And more Reavers now finishing up. This time he's being smarter, grouping his Reavers up with Dragoons so the Hydralisk cannot snipe those Reavers without at least dying. We're getting shut down before they can even take them down. Reavers going in. He's gonna get a single Reaver down. Hydralisk pull back, Hydralisk go down. A couple of Zealots get pulled into the Lurker Spines. He's on a hive now. Still no greater Spire here. The Fireless Mount is coming out for HamburgerSasu there though. So he's gonna try to use Plagues, or perhaps Swarms, to push himself out of this hole. But the Swarms might not work, because there's a lot of Zealots. The Dragoons will do well under the Lurkers will do well under the Swarms. The Reavers will take down those Lurkers as well. One Reaver goes down, second Reaver goes down, Hydralisk pull back. Great snipe from HamburgerSasu there. Buying himself time. The Reaver's not really buying any advantage there. Another Reaver goes down, gets sniped down. Terror stopped building probes, stopped adding onto his base here. He's completely focused on using this base here and just sending out units with Templars and whatever he can. Consume is on the way. Terror decides to go in. He's going to have to take down a couple of those Lurkers with the Reaver Scarabs. Gets a good shot off on some Hydralisks and the Lurkers as well, but all the Zealots in there have gone down. The Hydralisks are going to come in and take some shots off on those Reavers. Storm comes down. Oh, another Storm comes down. Pretty much all the Hydralisks have gone down. Templar eventually also goes down. Lurkers cleaning up all the ground forces for Terra there. So HamburgerSasu stays alive for a little bit longer, but the supply is quite low. His gas is quite low because he can only mine from 5 gas there. Maybe you can add the 6th gas there. But the 7th one will definitely not be able to be added on there. I like the placement of his evolution chamber. Keeps enemies away from those sunkens behind there. Consume is about to finish. Zergling attack speed also about to finish. Start eating some of the Zerglings. I'm gonna throw down a couple of swarms there. Huge ball of units moving out for Terror here. But HamburgerSasu now going on the offensive. Gets a swarm off, but the swarm pretty much covers nothing of his own units. Gets another swarm off, but he unintentionally protects those Reavers. Reavers now pulling back. Now the Zealots are going to come streaming in for Terror. And given that there's a lot of Zealots there, these Zealots are going to be protected by the Dark Swarm. We'll be able to push back HamburgerSasu's ground forces there. Although the Lurkers are pretty much taking down all of those ground forces there without effort. Gonna have to throw down another swarm very soon. Reavers have spawned there in the back. More units gonna come out for HamburgerSasu. HamburgerSasu doing a great job of pushing back this cannon line. But the storms are doing an amazing job at killing the units that were protected by the swarm. Only doesn't get the lurker under the swarm. And now Sasu is forced to pull back. Terror moving his dragoons under the swarm. Very, very good flip off the table there. And there's a Reaver flying in. Reaver gets shot off. The Scarab explodes and it kills a couple of drones, but not that many drones. So HamburgerSasu still somewhat in a safe position, but he's still low on gas and able to produce any units for real here. So this contain from Terror is absolutely working out just amazing, because even though he cannot kill HamburgerSasu as of yet, he's very slowly gaining actually, I think this is the good game here, because these 5 Reavers there with Scarab upgrade damage and their upgrades overall 002, so 2 weapon upgrade for Terra there. And he's finally starting to push in, and he knows he's won here, because I don't think, just like Terra thinks, I don't think these units here on the ground for HamburgerSasu will be able to take down these Reavers and the Dragoons there. Reavers clearing out all the ground forces without effort, and that's definitely the GG. Terror wins game number 2. Gets Storm off on the drones as well. Only 26 drones left. Ooh, painful little adventure here for HamburgerSasu. And I think this means we're going to game number 3. Because there's a lot of replays in this list. And yeah, Terror played a really nice contain there on HamburgerSasu. And this is also pretty much one of the reasons why most of the times against players of your own level or of a higher level than your own, you don't go for a non-choke Zerg, because it's just so extremely risky to play. Because instead of being able to bottleneck block all the enemy units out of your base, you now have to like this absolutely massive area right here within which you have to fight. And the Protoss just has so much more room to spread out, unbottlenecked. Get these Reavers spread out, get all the units there into the mix. And it's so much easier for the Protoss to play from this position than it is to play from this little chokehold here. Which, you know, I think this is a great display of why you go for a choke as the Zerg. But if you want to risk it and go for a non-choke Zerg, oh, you're free to do it. It's fun to do. And I'm going to pause it now real quick and load into the third game between HamburgerSasu and Terror. And game number 3 between Barcode Q, aka HamburgerSasu, and Terror is on the way. And this time round, Terror is once again playing Protoss, the purple Protoss this time round, up against HamburgerSasu, who's playing under the name Barcode Q. And he's playing as the white Terran on the top left of the map, Terror on the bottom middle of the map. And so far, it's 2-0 for Terror, who won Protoss versus Zerg 2 times in a row, quite convincingly. But then again, it is expected that players of about an equal level, that the Protoss will win more often against the Zerg than the Zerg will win against the Protoss. It is even quite rare for a Zerg of a similar level as the Protoss to beat the Protoss on a fastest map. That's just an inherent imbalance because of how easy it is for the Protoss to build, how strong the gateway units are for the Protoss, and how you can very easily build advantages with Reavers and just mass produce them. There's pretty much no drawback to building with a Protoss, whereas with a Zerg, There's always a drawback. With even a Terran, there's a drawback. And Protoss has pretty much no drawbacks whatsoever, which makes Protoss the prime race on fastest map. And it looks like HamburgerSasu is starting off with 3 barracks there. And Terror once again starts off with a Nexus and a Forge. That's new. Last couple of times he started out with 2 gateways. This time he starts off with Nexus, Forge, Pylon near the choke. He's not going to be able to build a choke with this pylon there. A little bit too far to the right here instead of in the middle, but there's a cannon there. Might be able to get a cannon up there and there. But the placement is a little bit dodgy in my opinion. But it works. It works. That's what matters. It works. Gateway there as well. Marine scouting. SCV scouting. Probe scouting. Another Marine moving into the choke there. Yeah, pretty much both players just building up. That's a pylon. That's an interesting placement for a pylon. I'm sure there's a reasoning behind it. Perhaps it has to do something with the gas. Not sure. Second Nexus finishes. Cybernetics core is on the way. Very early Cybernetics core. There's the Zealot on the way for Terror as well. Joke is finished up. Marines now regrouping because he knows where Terror is located. HamburgerSasu using his SCV to keep himself informed of the terrorist attack state. Of the terrorist threat. The threat of terror. So he adds on 2 command centers. Stop making Marines, stop making depots, because while you're making these 2 command centers, you do not need more supply. Because supply is going to come from the 2 command centers. And given that he knows that Terror has no units, he ceased production of units for a little while to ensure he has minerals for these 2 command centers quicker. And if he didn't cease production with those barracks, adding on 2 gauges as well. Great choice. Spreading out his Marines here in the entrance, making sure no probe can get through. Important little details here. Terror getting vision of the corners of his map, making sure no barracks is going to get flown over into his base and produce fire bats to cheese his minerals to death, basically. Goon finished here, just to chase down that SCV. He's building his tech closer to his main. Some players like to build their tech or their robotic facilities specifically inside their choke and rally their gateways to that specific spot. So they can load up those shuttles pretty much right away with units. There's another robotic facility. Citadel of Adun there. Robotic support bay also on the way, so we can be expecting double Reavers after this robotic support bay finishes and this shuttle finishes. Building his gateways up here in the top, very close to his choke. Quite interesting indeed. Should make it easier to rally point his gateways to his choke. More Marines there inside the choke. He's building his depots. Gonna start the wall to keep Terror out. To keep Terror at bay. In this war on Terror, there's a starport. Factory is now getting a machine shop. And he's about hitting the point where he needs more depots, but he was here finishing in the choke. Probably gonna make another depot here to wall off his entrance. He's gonna try and be aggressive because he scanned that Terror has only 2 cannons here. He scans again, making sure that there are no units there, but he sees that there are 4 units there, 3 Zealots and a Dragoon. Pylons being made outside of the base there. And he stims in, he goes in right for the cannon. Cannon takes a brunt force of the damage, but those Zealots are gonna be absolutely terrifying. He does end up taking those 2 cannons. This is very bad situation here for Terror. Those 2 Reavers have finished there in the back. Reavers finishing up their Scarabs, which means he can clean out those Marines. Marines now pulling back. He's gonna take down that gateway that's now unpowered because he took down the pylon there as well. Great choice taking out the pylon. That's little HP and immediately blocks empowerment. Why is he still building pylons there? Anyway, he took down the probe there, so no more pylons being constructed there. Shuttle is finished. Shuttle is now filled up with 2 Reavers. Gonna pull that back to his base. He's gonna start building and constructing a lot of depots here. Probably some turrets on the side as well. Maybe he's gonna pull his Marines back to his main. so we can respawn and snipe that shuttle, or maybe snipe the Reavers before they land within range of the minerals, but we just have to wait and see how that goes. So let's follow this Reaver here. Shuttle with Reavers. And what is he going to fly into? He flies in over the northern side, sees 2 SCVs, but HamburgerSasu has pretty much no units at all positioned in the right position. Now he has to pull off all of his SCVs. He gets a hit off on those SCVs, but the Scarab does not kill any of those SCVs. Does end up killing 3 SCVs. Shuttle is loaded up with a Reaver. He pulls his SCVs back. Oh, and gets a great shot off. Is his shot gonna hit as well? Shot is a dud. Reaver gets picked up. Reaver gets flown to safety, but he doesn't get another shot off. And HamburgerSasu comes away with losing only 12 SCVs, which is honestly way too many SCVs. And he should have started those turrets there on the side long ago, because he knew that the shuttle was finished. He knew that the Reavers are finished. He knew a drop was coming, and he still did not make turrets there on the side. That's really greedy. Maybe just an oversight from HamburgerSasu. And another drop landing there. Kill a single medic. Great save there. I barely saw the Scarab exploding, but killed a medic. Huge mass here for Terror. There's a tank flying in. There's no protection here at the main, no cannons whatsoever. But the front here, he unloads the Reaver a little bit too close. He's gonna take down these cannons, these depots here. Gets a great shot up on the tank there in the back. Gets another great shot up on the tank in the back. He saves the Reaver. Reaver's gonna get another shot up on the tank there in the back. But the Marines there are cleaning out all of those ground forces. Now it's all gonna come down to this drop that's being landed here. He gets a first shot off. That's 11. 14 probes have gone down for Terror. Now he's gonna shoot on individual. No, he's gonna load up the tanks before they go down to the Zealots there. They're being run in to save pretty much the economy of Terror there. He's gonna unload those tanks on the others. He's gonna look for a spot where he can land them. He finds a spot to unload them, and the Storm misses. Second Storm gets it, and he gets another great shot off on those probes. Killed another 6 probes. And he's effectively managed to slow Terror down significantly. Buy himself a ticket to the win, in my opinion. Because he pretty much nullified the hit on his SCVs there by counter-hitting Terror's own mineral line, his own income. Another tank drop's already flying in. There's a single tank in there, not 2, just 1. He's going to use the second one to defend himself with. He's going to load up this one as well. 2 raids there, functioning as anti-drop so we can snipe shuttles. There comes the dropship. Dropship is gonna unload. He picks up the tank because he sees that he cannot get a shot off on those probes. It's just gonna be annoying instead. Unloading it, reloading it, and there he had a chance there in my opinion. He's gonna leave it there, not do anything with it at all. Alright, it's gonna be annoying. I'm gonna fly another one in. This one has 4 firebats and 2 tanks. I know what he's gonna do. Well, I thought he was gonna unload that tank there, but he doesn't unload the tank. Instead, he's gonna unload this tank here and make Terror focus on the tank. He unloads the tank and he's gonna drop the firebats right on top of the minerals, and he gets a great shot up on those probes. Oh, pretty much all the probes that Terror had have gone down, and he gets another great shot up on the remaining probes. But the probes there splitting up. Terror down to 12 probes in total. HamburgerSasu absolutely putting on a beautiful display of how to drop on a Protoss that does not have sufficient protection for their probes. And now he's on 13 probes, 14 probes. Ooh, this is painful for Terror. So as a last straw attack, his last chance to make a comeback into this game is to load up all of his shuttles here. And he's got 3 Reavers, 5 Reavers, and a couple of Zealots there. 6 shuttles in total. But he's gonna have to fly in over these shuttles. When he lands there on the low ground, he's gonna be met by a large group of Marines, at least 20 Marines. So he comes flying in. He's gonna have to start unloading immediately. He starts unloading, but HamburgerSasu is focusing on the shuttles. 3 of the shuttles make it through, but there's only zealots in those shuttles. Not a single Reaver made it through into the base, and he unloaded all of his zealots there behind the comms head station. That's actually quite hilarious. They're pretty much just trapped in there. And Terra calls the GG. HamburgerSasu comes out on top with the win. Beautiful tank drops and even firebat drops, pulling him back into the game and then ahead, and then finishing Terror off. Terror had no chance of making a comeback into this game. I mean, he had a chance, but the Reavers died here, which pretty much just means that it's over. That was his only chance. If those Reavers had unloaded, 5 Reavers in total, if those Reavers had unloaded and gotten some of their shots off on this mass that HamburgerSasu had here, he might have been able to make a comeback if he unloaded here instead of trying to unload there, which is very greedy. If he had, like, even if 2 of those Scarabs had killed this entire Marine mass, he could have made a comeback. Just off of the fact that he could push in with those units. Because all of HamburgerSasu's units were stationed here in a very, very small ball. Would have all gone down, I'm 100% sure. But it wasn't meant to be. So I hope you enjoyed this this series, although this is only part 1 of this series. But concerning I've already been casting for about 40 minutes now, I'm gonna cut it short here, and I'm gonna do the second part of this series somewhere tomorrow, maybe the day after tomorrow, whenever I feel like it. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this series. It's a very BM series, but quite enjoyable. Unorthodox things happening, things you can't predict. So yeah, see you later, and goodbye.